is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dulmin Samarasinha and read by Ramesh Piris. First, the headlines. The work on the eastern terminal of the Colombo harbour will commence tomorrow. Minister Ramesh Pathirana says Sri Lanka can sign diplomatic agreements with any country. The Kundasali seed production farm entrusted with the responsibility for seeds. The People's Bank removed from the blacklist by the Chinese embassy. Singer Lata Mangeshkar is in the intensive care infected with COVID-19. In news overseas, COVID PCR tests end for asymptomatic cases in England. In sports, it's cricket. Legends League Championship will commence on the 20th in Oman. Now the local news in detail. The work on the eastern terminal of the Colombo harbour will commence tomorrow. Plans have been made to complete the work by 4th of July 2024. Minister Rohita Abegunawardena said in Colombo today, the aim is to make the Colombo port a higher container handling harbour by 2035. Co-cabinet spokesman Minister Ramesh Pathirana says only a bilateral agreement was signed with China. He said, as a free country, Sri Lanka is not an enemy of any country and it can sign diplomatic agreements with any country. He said there is nothing hidden in the agreement. He further said India has also extended its support to Sri Lanka. Kundasali seed production farm has been entrusted with the responsibility of producing importation, distribution and regulating price of seeds. Minister Mahindananda Arugamage pointed out that Agriculture Department should have all details related to cultivations. It was disclosed that Kundasali farm produces 22 seed varieties. The People's Bank of Sri Lanka has been removed from the blacklist of the Economic and Commercial Office of the Embassy of People's Republic of China. People's Bank was blacklisted by the Economic and Commercial Office of the Chinese Embassy in Sri Lanka for failing to make the payment according to the letter of credit and the contracts between two parties. Following the payment to Qingdao Sewin Biotech Group in accordance with letter of credit terms and with the clearance from the courts, the People's Bank has been removed from the blacklist. Singer Lata Mangeshkar is in the intensive care unit of a hospital in Mumbai after she tested positive for COVID-19. She has mild symptoms. Her niece, Rachana Shah, confirmed the news to ANI and said that she has mild symptoms. The 92-year-old singer has recorded songs in more than 1,000 Hindi films in several languages. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sudhana from People's Bank. Give your child the strength to succeed.
The Colombo High Court has ordered the Colombo Chief Judicial Medical Officer to examine MP Partile Champaka Ranavaka, who is admitted at a private hospital, and to submit a report on his health condition. The Colombo High Court Judge Damit Totawata issued this directive when the case filed against the former minister and two other defendants over allegations of concealing evidence and fabricating evidence in relation to the traffic accident in Rajagiriya in 2016 was taken up for hearing by the court today. Two appeal court justices have stepped down today from hearing the petition filed against an order given by the Right to Information Commission to release name lists of MPs who declared their assets and liabilities. The appeal has been filed by Secretary General of Parliament Dhammika Disanayake and Deputy Secretary General Kushani Rohanadira. The case will be heard again on the 20th of this month. The Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Piris and Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea Park Byung-chen held discussions recently at the Speaker's office, National Assembly in Seoul. Speaker Byong Sen showed keen interest in the parliamentary system under Sri Lanka's constitution, especially such features as the executive presidential system with the framework of cabinet government. The Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea accepted with pleasure the invitation extended to him by Foreign Minister Paris to visit the Parliament of Sri Lanka. He will arrive in Sri Lanka on the 18th for a three-day visit. President's Counsel Saleh Paris has been re-elected as the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Attorney-at-Law Isuru Balapathabandi has been elected as the Secretary of the Bar Association. They were elected uncontested for the year 2022 and 2023. Mr. Paris was elected as the 26th President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka in February last year. The opposition leader Sajid Premadasa, who is visiting Jaffna, has inaugurated the new building for a preschool in Tahiti. The inauguration ceremony was attended by many, including Member of Parliament Buddhika Patharera and Deputy Secretary of the Samagi Janabala Vega, Umachandra Prakash. The preschool has been built with financial assistance from the students of the University of Nordland, Norway. And that concludes local news.
From the very first day at school, teach your child the lesson of saving. Open a Sisudana account with People's Bank. Higher interest with more gifts and benefits.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Cabinet has approved implementation of identified projects to promote Buddhist heritage in Sri Lanka and India. India has agreed to grant more than 2 billion rupees over 5 years in this regard. The identified projects include infrastructure development, capacity development, cultural affairs, archaeological cooperation, exposition of Buddha's sacred relics, and Buddhist pilgrims tours to India. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
In Watchlight this evening, the Grand 20th Award ceremony of the CNCI Achiever Awards 2021 for Industrial Excellence, which is annually organized by the Ceylon National Chamber of Industries, will be held tomorrow in Colombo. One significant feature observed this year was the large number of applications received in the extra-large category for both government and private sector. And that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Moving on to a bulletin of world news, first the headlines. COVID PCR tests end for asymptomatic cases in England. Indian lab investigated over 298 positive COVID tests on flights from Italy. South Korea's military says the projectile North Korea fired today was an upgraded version of a missile. Now the world news in detail. People without COVID symptoms no longer need a PCR test to confirm a positive lateral flow in England. The UK Health Security Agency said the change reflects the high prevalence of coronavirus in the community and the accuracy of rapid tests. The surge in Omicron cases has seen many with positive lateral flow tests struggling to book a follow-up PCR. The UK has the capacity for more than 800,000 daily lab tests but moved closer to its limit in December. At least 173 passengers from Rome and 125 travellers from Milan tested positive on arrival in Amritsar. 30 of them were tested again at the airport, but only 3 people tested positive for COVID the second time. Airport officials told media they have stopped using the service of the lab Spice Health for now. South Korea's military says the projectile believed to be a ballistic missile that North Korea fired today was an upgraded version of the missile it launched last week. North Korea fired the projectile towards the Sea of Japan this morning. The South Korean military Joint Chiefs of Staff says it was launched from the northern province of Chang'an. Analysis show that the projectile flew more than 700 kilometers and reached a maximum altitude of about 60 kilometers. Back to the headlines of the world news. COVID PCR tests end for asymptomatic cases in England. Indian lab investigated over 298 positive COVID tests on flights from Italy. South Korea's military says the projectile North Korea fired today was an upgraded version of a missile. And that concludes the bulletin of World News.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Equipment and tanks required for the production of organic liquid fertilizer has been granted free of charge to 6,882 farmers in the Kurunegala and Putlam districts. Northwestern Provincial Director of Agriculture P. Sisira Kumara said equipment was granted to promote organic cultivation in the country in line with the government's view to produce toxic-free food for the people and future generations. And that was Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
And moving on to sports, it's cricket. The timetable of Legends League Championship has been released. The tournament will commence on the 20th of this month in Oman. Asian Lions will play against Indian Maharajas in the opening match. Asian Lions will play against World Giants on the following day. The completion will take place on the 29th of this month. 7 former Sri Lankan cricketers are taking part in the tournament. And that was Sports News.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
People's Bank announced that it had facilitated 82.6 million transactions worth over 1.2 trillion rupees during the year 2021 through its island-wide network of ATMs, CDMs and self-banking kiosks. People's Bank also enjoys the largest customer base in Sri Lanka, countering over 14 million customers, along with the largest branch network consisting of over 741 physical contact points. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
The Ministry of Industries is providing 39 acres of land from the existing industrial estates to investors who in turn will invest to the tune of 5.3 billion rupees in them. Minister of Industries Vimal Veerapansa said those projects will generate over 3,200 employment opportunities. He was speaking as the chief guest at the handing over ceremony of lands in industrial estates owned by the Ministry of Industries to new investors. And that's economic news. The weather report is next.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act No. 42 of 2011.
The weather report.
The The Met Department says the low-level atmospheric disturbance still persists in the vicinity of Sri Lanka. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the northern, north-central, eastern and Uva provinces and in the Matale, Nuwara and Hambantota districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters may occur at some places in the Uva province and in the Batiklo, Ampara, Polonnaruwa, Hambantota and Matale districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Galle, Matra and Kandy districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters may occur at some places in the Ratnapura, Kalutara, Galle, Matra and Kandy districts. And that was the weather report. And to end this news broadcast, a recap of the main news headlines. The work on the eastern terminal of the Colombo harbour will commence tomorrow. Minister Ramesh Patirina says Sri Lanka can sign diplomatic agreements with any country. The Kundasali seed production farm entrusted with the responsibility for seeds. The People's Bank removed from the blacklist by the Chinese embassy. Singer Lata Mangeshkar is in the intensive care, infected with COVID-19. In news overseas, COVID PCR tests end for asymptomatic cases in England. And in sports, it's cricket. Legends League Championship will commence on the 20th in Oman. And that concludes this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.